and we talked about the moves that are going to be made, especially when you don't reach your goals. And we've already seen these moves, a lot of these moves happen. They got a new coach in Aaron Glenn. They got Aaron Rodgers up out of there. So and then the news now is Davante Adams was released yesterday, and the reason why this is big because this is essentially, I think the Jets save like $29 million with Davante Adams off the roster. So this is huge. What I wanted to do was I wanted to give my top 5 landing spots for Davante Adams. I understand that a lot of these probably can happen, or maybe not even won't, or maybe won't happen because of. In fact, I try to do realistic places. Like, I think a great place for Davante Adams could go is the Ravens, but I don't think the Ravens have enough money to have Davante Adams. I don't think that they can afford Davante Adams, especially seeing as though he was released and not traded. Maybe if you trade him, yeah, but I don't think that especially when they have to figure out how they're going to is Mark Andrews going to be back? They still need to pay Ronnie Stanley. I think Davante Adams would be great for the Ravens. I just don't think he could fit money-wise. So the 5 landing spots that I picked sort of makes sense and sort of could happen. It's just I don't know if they will. But I was wondering, like, where do I see Davante Adams at as a player? And what I mean by that is I think it's undoubtable. It's not even questionable. At his peak, Davante Adams was the best wide receiver in football. With his route running, with his dependability, with his catch radius, Davante Adams was the best wide receiver in football at his peak. Obviously, I don't think that this is his peak. But I still think that he is a top. It was a tough situation in Oakland. It was a tough situation, or not Oakland, I'm sorry, Vegas. And it was a tough situation in New York. I still think Davante Adams has a lot left in the tank. I don't think he's on the same level at this point of his career as a Justin Jefferson, as a Tyreek Hill, as a Jamar Chase, but I still think that he can be a top tier receiver if used correctly. And I think that a lot of these spots that he could go could change the trajectory, at least of next season, for a team. That's how good I think Davante Adams still is. He just needs the right opportunity. And I'll just start. Again, these are the top 5 landing spots for Davante Adams. Number 5 is the Patriots, New England Patriots. Now, I will admit that I don't think that getting Davante Adams makes the Patriots a Super Bowl contender at all. I think the Patriots are far away from a Super Bowl. I do like what they're doing, getting Mike Vrabel as a head coach, and Drake May showed great strides last year, and I think that he is the perfect quarterback right now for the Patriots, especially for the future. But one of the biggest issues is they don't have a dependable player outside of Drake May. And while you need to fill out the whole team and have a great team, you need somebody that is dependable for your best player, which is why I thought T. Higgins would be perfect. And I still think, I know franchise tag, and they're saying that he could be tagged and traded. I think T. Higgins going to the Patriots would be perfect. If they're unable to get T. Higgins, maybe Davante Adams. I don't think Davante Adams is a number one option anymore. I kind of put Davante Adams in the same boat as I put someone like Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is still great. I think Stephon Diggs is still a game changer. I think Stephon Diggs can still be a very important piece to a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't think with the injuries of Stephon Diggs, the age, I don't think that Stephon Diggs is still a number one receiver. When you talk about Davante Adams with the age and just the last few stints, I don't think he's still a number one receiver, but I still think that he can change or help a quarterback and help an offense tremendously. And I think that you put him on a Patriot team with Drake May, it gives him a dependable receiver. Again, I don't think that his presence makes the Patriots a Super Bowl contender, but I do think that it helps Drake May leaps and bounds, especially if they're unable to get someone like T. Higgins. So, number 5, I have the Patriots. Number 4, I have the Bills. I think that he's better than Amari Cooper right now. And as we saw last year, the Bills' offense can be explosive if you have a dependable. You have Josh Allen. So with you having Josh Allen, that makes a lot of things easier. He elevates. I mean, he won the MVP this year for this season. He elevates whoever. I mean, he elevates Khalil Shakir, who got paid an extension. Hollins, Curtis Samuel, like they were playing their best ball because they had Josh Allen. You give Josh Allen somebody that as important to a football team as Davante Adams has been, I think, and again, I understand that Davante Adams, he may not want to play in cold, but hell, you played in New Jersey. So you played in Green Bay and had your best years. Obviously, it was alongside Aaron Rodgers when he was younger, but I think the biggest issue with the Bills is obviously their defense and how their defense was undependable in a lot of situations. But offensively, if you pair Davante Adams with someone that has the arm strength and just the greatness of a Josh Allen, that will change, in my opinion, the trajectory of this Bills team. I think the Bills team is obviously, I mean, they were in the AFC Championship last year. I think they're good enough, obviously, to compete for a Super Bowl. Davante Adams could put them over the top and have that dynamic one, because you still have to figure out what's going to go on with James Cook, because James Cook's talking like, yo, I ain't coming back unless I get paid what I feel like I deserve, and rightfully so. So you want to have something sure on the roster, and I think that you get Davante Adams, that just changes a lot. At number 3, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, it hurts my soul. Obviously, as a Commanders fan, but when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, bro, they have one dependable player, and that is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb had one of the best seasons for a wide receiver last year, and that's not hard to tell why. I mean, there's nobody else on the roster. Yes, I don't think that wide receiver should be their number one focus. They definitely need a running game. They need to figure out what's going on with their defense, and they need to figure out if they're going to pay Micah Parsons. But last year, it was clear as day that the only offensive piece that they have is CeeDee Lamb. And don't get me wrong, bro. I don't think Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback. But one thing that we have seen is when Dak Prescott has help, when Dak Prescott has a team that is around him, when he has more than one weapon, they can win a lot. So now I don't know what they're going to do with their new coach as far as what Schottenheimer. I don't know if he's Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know if he's the guy, but that's who they picked. But Davante Adams alongside or being a second option to a CeeDee Lamb, that just opens up a team that already has struggles. You know, Zach Martin retired, already has struggles at the offensive line, already has struggles running back wise. At least you will have the tight end, and honestly, you have the wide receiver and the tight end because you have Ferguson. Tight end positions locked up. You pair Davante Adams with CeeDee Lamb, that would help out the Dak Prescott exponentially. So I don't know if it's going to happen because, again, I just feel like Dallas needs to figure a lot of things out and soon. But I think Davante Adams would be a perfect fit for Dallas. And they play in a dome. Even though it's falling apart, and you hope you don't go into the sun for some reason. But yeah, I think Davante Adams on the Dallas Cowboys would be great. Number 2, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I understand that Pittsburgh has to figure out their quarterback thing. Do they want and are they going to pay Russell Wilson? Do they want and are they going to pay Justin Fields? Are they going to go out and get another quarterback, maybe another bridge quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers, like a Kirk Cousins? I don't know. But I honestly don't think that quarterback should be their number one priority. I think that Russell Wilson showed that he's good enough to be the quarterback, a starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, when you see they lost, 7 straight, but look at the teams that they played. Like, it's going to be tough when you play, the Ravens twice, when you play the Chiefs. Like, yeah, you might lose those games. I think their last win was against the Commanders last year, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be tough. But there were a lot of glaring issues with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and honestly, obviously, you would hope that your quarterback can supersede those issues, but sometimes you can't. And I think the number one issue in Pittsburgh is their offensive line. They need to figure that out because whether it was I think it helped Justin Fields a little bit more because he's more of a mobile quarterback, but he can't throw the ball downfield, at least deep. You need to figure that out. And then it was clear as day, and I mean bright light clear, how depleted they were outside of George Pickens. Yes, Pat Freiermuth is a great tight end, but outside of that, Najee Harris, he's going to be a free agent. He may not be back. They don't, Jaylen Warren is cool. They don't really have another dependable, skilled player outside of George Pickens. So you get someone that is as much football as he's played in his career. You don't really have to worry much about Davante Adams. You pair him alongside pair him alongside George Pickens and this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Again, they have a lot to figure out. Their defense was just, I'm not going to say it was terrible, but it let them down a lot down the stretch of the season. They need to figure that out. They need to figure out the offensive line, but they also need to get more weapons because right now they only have one dependable deep threat down the field, one dependable wide receiver. Shouts out to Calvin Austin, but he was a rookie. That's about out. They had Mike Williams, but he didn't really do much when he came to the team. I think that Van Jefferson, but still, that's not. I think Davante Adams would help tremendously when we talk about a wide receiver room that is in desperate need of more explosion outside of George Pickens. And I do think that Davante Adams may be able to be a role model type for George Pickens because, as we've seen, he is a crash out waiting to happen. So I think Davante Adams would be great. Who did they release? Oh, I think that. Sorry, I'm checking to see if any breaking news is happening for the NFL. And right now, it says the Saints released Jamal Williams, right? Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think Davante Adams would be great. He'd be a great number 2 to George Pickens. So I have, and that's another thing. When you are looking around, and this is a discredit to the Steelers, when you're looking around and you're George Pickens, like, I'm the only one here that has any, like, you. What are you gonna do to me? Offensively, you ain't got nobody, bro. Y'all need me more than I need you. Maybe that's why Mike Tomlin be allowing some of the stuff with George Pickens to happen. But that I don't know. But I think that number 2 would be the Steelers. And number 1, as unfortunate as that would be for America, I think number 1 would be Kansas City. One of their biggest issues outside of their biggest issue was the offensive line, but one of their issues is they didn't have a dependable receiver outside of Xavier Worthy, who was a rookie. Rashid Rice going down. Sky Moore has been a disaster. Davante Adams would be great for that team. You also have DeAndre Hopkins, who is is close to the end of his career, obviously, than the beginning. But you pair Davante Adams would. I mean, Travis Kelce is still going to go down as one of, if not the greatest receiving tight end of all time. He had a forgettable season. I'll say that. The whole offense pretty much had a forgettable season. I think that Davante Adams, it just gives you a dependable. And I think Davante Adams right now in his career is better than DeAndre Hopkins. Especially what we saw this year. I mean, one game that sticks out to me for Davante Adams is the game when he was a Raider against the Ravens, and he killed the Ravens. He's the biggest reason why the Ravens lost that game. So I think if you put that type of weapon on the Kansas City Chiefs, it just makes them as formidable as possible. Now they have to figure out what they're going to do with, some of their players. But yeah, number 5, I have the I have the Patriots. Number 4, I have the Bills. Number 3, I have the Cowboys. Number 2, I have the Steelers. Number 1, and I think the perfect spot for Davante Adams would be the Kansas City Chiefs. And damn, imagine that. Rashid Rice, Xavier Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins, and Davante Adams alongside Isaiah Pacheco. That'd be crazy. And Travis Kelce. That'd be crazy. But yeah. I'm interested to see what happens with Davante Adams, because I don't think that he is good enough, obviously, with his age to be a number 1 receiver. So I don't think he's going. The reason why I picked those 5 places is because I don't think that he is going to be, outside of the Patriots, I don't think he's going to be like the top dog. But a lot of those places he goes to, he will be the second option, or he'd be a number 1, but you have a bevy of other players like the Bills. He'd probably be the number 1 option, but you still have Shakur, you still have Amari Cooper. I am also interested to see what happens with Cooper Kupp. But yeah, I don't think he's still number 1 receiver, but I do think that he is good enough to be a top tier number 2. I'll say that. Or I don't think he has the consistency to be a number 1, but he has the consistency to be a great number 2. Maybe like Debo. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.